Outtakes! I am Sam, and I am once again joined by my amazing crew for an all-new show. Amelia, how's things been?
How's things for you indeed? I'm alright, yeah. Life's life, and at the minute,
Yeah.
a bit odd, but we're back. Hello.
Yeah, things are bad, and we're escaping into the world of pop culture once again, because we can't fucking stay here. Joe, how about you?
It's alright, yeah. Yeah, it's exactly the same as it was when we finished in the show.
Isn't it,
This time,
basically?
so
Yeah.
Nothing's changed.
And Jacob, what is up?
Yeah, pretty similar.
Nice.
Not a whole lot. Let's be real.
Yeah, pretty much, except our whole new fancy new swanky new show. Wait! So instead of looking all the way to the past constantly for films to cover, we're going to be here in the now, and we're going to start with some news arenas. No, I hate that. Let's not do that. Let's just go with normal news, except it's geek news, which means it's trash most of the time. So I've picked and chosen some things from the last 2 weeks that might be fun to talk about, and for a special segment, laugh about. So there's been a lot of things been going on over 2 weeks. I've released about events like the Golden Globes. Did anyone see the Golden Globes?
I didn't
saw
watch
that
it live,
happened.
but yeah.
Was it
I've
good
watched
fun?
it since.
I've not.
It's the Golden Globes. It's just people standing up and collecting rewards, you know?
Yeah, fair. Yeah, it's more or less
No
why
one
I
fell
stopped.
over.
Ah,
No one was drunk.
what's the point?
Most people weren't even there because obviously they couldn't be, so...
What a
Imagine,
waste.
like, winning something, like, for the first time ever, but it's this Golden Globes. How, like, sad would that be?
Suck, right?
Oh, you know what? I take it back, right? Something that was good watching it. Who was it? I can't remember who it was. There was a director. I can't remember who it was. But every time he didn't win something, he took a shot. So it was amazing because
good.
Amazing.
he was just doing the thing, and he'd be like, they'd announce someone else, and he'd be like, taking a shot. All right, sick.
What a
So,
guy.
you know, that should be a tradition for everyone. Should do that when they go to Golden Globe. So hand them out.
So we've had announcements of like upcoming streaming services. HBO Max are fucking going mad again. Paramount's going to start a streaming service because everyone wants all our money.
Saw that.
And their big
That's
selling point.
Transformers, isn't it? Do they do Transformers?
They do the Transformers movies, but the big selling point was that Halo TV series that's been happening for the past like 15 years is apparently actually going to be on it. And I don't believe that for a second.
Nah.
Elsewhere in pop culture news, though, it's been very heavily superhero based. We've had Marvel releasing new stuff and stuff, so we'll just go straight into that. That's kind of the meaty stuff. So let's start off with some potential spoilers for the Shang-Chi movie, because we've had one of those Lego set pictures that definitely spoils the movie. Has anyone seen the picture? Does anyone want to know what it is? Okay.
I've not seen that.
I've seen some for the Eternals, but no.
Really?
No Shang-Chi
I've not seen
stuff.
any Eternals. I've seen the
they're weird.
promo picture for the Eternals, and it looks not good at all.
I've not seen any promo material yet.
So the Shang-Chi set is a really big dragon fight, so that's exciting. So hopefully going to be a big dragon in it. And 4 minifigures, right? So we've got Shang-Chi himself. We've got Jia Ling and Wen Wu. I don't know who either of them are. We've got who I assume is the villain, who's called Death Dealer.
Oh,
What? I thought the villain was the Mandarin. I thought they were doing that.
Yeah, so
again.
did I. So did I.
Like, just revisiting that and just...
I mean, maybe they want that to remain sort of secret, even though the movie's called Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, and that's kind of the Mandarin's whole thing. But there's also a 6-legged, winged animal mascot called Morris.
Morris.
Oh.
Morris.
Morris.
What's the best
Amazing.
name ever?
Who do you reckon will voice him? Someone American.
An American
not.
comedian.
Yeah.
Who's
I mean,
like
the first name that came to my head was Danny DeVito. I don't know why. Danny DeVito straight away.
I love
Do
it.
it.
I mean, that would be great. Would it? I don't know. Animal mascots in Marvel seems odd. Elsewhere in the Marvelverse, Tom Holland saying they're still writing the Spider-Man script, which could be normal. I mean, they are shooting it now. You know, it could be just normal practice. That's the way these Marvel movies work. We don't know. That's what he says. It's still being worked on. Which brings us to my stupid news segment. So Marvel has been full of it recently. Spider-Man rumors, all sorts of stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read out some news stories, and I'm even going to name and shame the sites that hosted the particular stories. So they're not all, I'll confess, they're not all like news. Some of them are like speculation, but I still had to read them, and they still decided to publish them. So, okay, let's start with this one from CBR.com. It's the headline.
Classic.
The MCU's deleted scenes are canon because they happen in a different universe.
Jesus Christ.
No, they don't.
Right.
They just don't.
Right. I mean, if you're going to click on that, then if you read that and think, oh, this is going to be a good article, then it's kind of on you.
Right,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
granted.
That's kind of your own fault. Like, you can't read that and be like, all right, I'll see where they're going with this. No.
Agreed.
No, don't.
Okay, so what about this then? From comicbook.com.
Classic. Another classic culprit.
Right?
Yeah.
Charlie Cox's beard confirms that he is in Spider-Man 3.
What?
The article, it goes on to point out a couple of sources to back up this claim, but the main brunt of the article is he had a beard, he shaved it and filmed something for someone, and now he's growing it back again. So that's definitely Matt Murdock.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, every other character in every film has beards, you know what I mean? So they're on to something, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, he's the only beardless Marvel character. This is the thing. So this in it backs in the article, it backs up its thing from like, oh, there's a reliable source. So I also want to point out there's a thing that's gone around every single time that a big amount of like comic book movie speculation goes around. A reliable source always comes back to a Twitter account called Charles Murphy. And I have been digging through Charles Murphy's Twitter account. I'm not here to start any beef. You know, I'm not here to call anyone out. But I am going to say that his Twitter account is a little bit, tiny bit dubious. So he was the initiator that said Charlie Cox is going to be in. And that's just all the tweet says. And look, if you want to throw that out into the world, whatever, cause a little chaos, right? But he's really definitely sure that he's breaking stories. And I want to just relay to you his own presented evidence for being an insider on Wandavision. Okay, so a year ago, before he had like a proper platform or a website or anything, he posted a story on Twitter that said, "I've been hearing that Wandavision is going to be about Wanda learning to use her reality warping powers." And he's reposted that.
About Wanda and Vision.
He's reposted that and said, name. "See, look, how's that sounding now? This was a good story." What he essentially predicted was a superhero product was going to be about the superhero in the title using their superpowers.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that claim isn't so bold, you know? Which is why I'm going to do something now. What I'm going to say is Mr. Fantastic will learn to stretch in the Fantastic Four movie. And I will use that to back up. Here's my next one. Here's what I've been hearing. Al Murray, the pub landlord, will reprise his role as the pub landlord in Spider-Man 3. You heard it here first.
Oh man, if I wake up tomorrow to that headline, I'm going to set this off.
And this is my personal favourite, best to last, right? Coming from Screen Rant. Spider-Man 3 might have 2 Daredevils. Are you excited to hear about this one? Okay, so we start off. It mentions in it that Charlie Cox has been rumoured to come back. And when it says that, it hyperlinks. So I'm thinking, brilliant. That's going to link to the article that's confirming. Might just be about his beard again, but it'll be at least on topic, right? I click it, and the article's called Hawkeye is the replacement for Daredevil in the MCU.
Oh my god. What the fuck?
So it's not even related. It's not even remotely related, really. It's just basically saying Hawkeye, it's going to be set in New York and deal with criminals. There we are. And further down the article, backing up the potential of a second Daredevil, it simply says, the Daredevil Netflix show was cancelled, so there might be a different one in the movie.
I mean, they must be like aware that they're writing utter shit. Like, Do you reckon when they're typing away, they're like, "Oh man, this is a good load of shit that I'm writing here." Like they're just committing to it, or they're just genuinely stupid.
I fully
there's that as well.
understand that the game is all about just getting clicks. I'm not averse to that. I do understand that you could produce something better than this, surely.
You could try more. It's like when you're trying to write an essay for like school or uni or whatever, and you've got to pad out the word count. And they just, in a lot of those articles, they just repeat themselves. Or just write stuff that's not anything
It's like
new.
slightly related or something. Like it's like, oh, Avengers whatever 5 is going to be about this. Oh, here's the plot for Avengers 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
It's possibly going to be about a small little paragraph at the very end. Oh, there's a few comics you can base it on. Here's a list. Right, there you go. That's the article.
It's like so one of the other things that I read was CBI.com reporting. Well, this has actually been everywhere, to be fair, and this was very recent. This happened like last night as of recording. Well, lots of places reporting that Marvel is currently working on a property titled The Mutants, and they all list the same source for this, which is another website called the Illuminerdi, and they list their source as fucking no one. It's just wild conjecture. Do I think that they're making an X-Men based property? Yes. Do I think it's going to be called The Mutants? No. And I think that because I don't think Disney is going to pass up the money of making a movie called X-Men.
Yeah, they own that. It's not like the new Spider-Man films are called Web Shooter Guy.
Web Boy.
Or The Friendly Neighborhood blank or whatever. They use Spider-Man.
Yeah, there's no need to be coy about it. Like, whatever.
So, to be fair though, like, do you remember when DC kind of did go through that phase where instead of just calling films Batman or Superman, they called them The Dark Knight and Man of Steel?
Yeah,
so, like,
that's true.
I mean, one of those two films was good, so...
Which beautifully brings us on to our last and biggest news story. So a week ago, it was reported that Zack Snyder's cut of Justice League is going to end on a massive cliffhanger because we're never allowed to stop hearing about this franchise, except this might be it. This might be the last time we hear about it because it's going to end on a cliffhanger because he planned 2 more movies, and now we know what those 2 movies were going to be about. Would you like to know the plots of Justice League 2 and 3 as Zack planned them?
I mean, I hope they don't get made, so yeah, go on.
So
I hope never to watch them.
So here's the thing. I am going to miss some details out. They are available online, as well as, and it's not just like some leaker has gone, here, I know Zack's plot. Jim Lee's done illustrations for them. Like, this is a thing that they're confirming this is what was going to happen. So, at some point in the first movie, spoilers for the Snyder Cut, Lex Luthor's going to break out, right? And we pick up in the second movie with Batman and Lois Lane hunting down Lex Luthor and getting jiggy with it while they do. Yeah.
What? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Is that a direct quote?
Oh my god.
No, well, I might have elaborated, but they are fucking. They are together. They are in a relationship.
Is this a comic book
Oh
thing?
man. Is that why Superman's like ripping out his heart and shit in that flashback? It's like we all thought that it was something actually like, oh, Lois Lane died, so he's really angry. It's like, nah, man, he's just angry because his fucking girlfriend was like 2-timing him. Like,
Yeah.
that's so shit.
So yeah, Lois and Batman are getting it on, and what Lex is doing is he is assembling a Legion of Doom, right, which is DC's Sinister Six, essentially, and their job is to be filler interim supervillains for this movie that has very little plot. So most.
I mean, they've kind of done this in the actual released version of Justice League. Like, this all happens. Like, he breaks out in Justice League in the one that they released in the cinemas, and then there's a bit at the end of it, like an after credit scene, where like Deathstroke shows up to Lex Luthor's yacht. So that's in the film that they've currently released. So.
Deathstroke, I don't think, is in the Legion of Doom. One of the characters that is in the Legion of Doom is the villain from Wonder Woman, who has somehow survived.
Which villain?
Cheetah. From the first one. Dr.
Big
Poison, I
Smoke
think?
that British...
Oh.
No, not Ares. Not the
okay.
literal god. No. So, yeah, Legion of Doom goes around, and Black Manta might be in it as well, and their job is to basically punch their corresponding Justice League member for a bit. and the Justice League corresponding member punches them back. And while all that chaos is going on, Lex Luthor is trying to find... Now, Joe, this might be something from the comics. I'm not sure. You might know more about this. He's trying to find the anti-life equation. Is that something?
I mean, I'm not big on Superman comics. It doesn't sound familiar, but it sounds like some stupid shit from a comic, so...
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Maybe.
So Lex is trying to figure out what it is, because it's the MacGuffin of the movie. And he goes to the Riddler, and he's like, Riddler, solve the riddle of the anti-life equation. And he does, and he tells Lex, and then Batman and Lois approach him, and he goes, I did it. I solved the anti-life riddle. And Batman's like, what is it? And he's like, riddle me this. And then he shoots himself in the head.
Classic Riddler, that. I love it when the Riddler shoots himself in the head.
It's what we all want to see,
It is
isn't
something
it?
from the comics as well, by the way.
Is it interesting?
It doesn't look it.
Cool. Right, so he uses the anti-life equation to open a boom tube, which is DC's stupid name for portals. Darkseid comes out of the boom tube, and him and Superman punch for a bit until Darkseid wins and Lois Lane dies. Cut to 5 years later, and it's the apocalypse, like Batman and Superman future, right? Mm-hmm. And that is where Justice League 3 takes place, in the apocalypse.
So at what point... I was going to say, at what point does Jacob... I was going to say, at what point does Jacob say? What point does the Joker tell us that we live in a society? I don't know which point this falls into.
Well, that's in the upcoming Snyder Cut. There's no details about that
Why?
yet. Yeah, right?
Why though?
We've got to wait for it, you know? It's going to be
I was
important
gonna
and
say,
big.
You know, boom tube. You remember those green, like, plastic tubes that you used to, like, whistle round your head?
Yes.
What, were they called boom tubes?
I think they probably were. It sounds
Because-
like something, yeah.
Even though they didn't make a boom, they just sort of whistled. I don't know, but boom tube is a dumb name.
What are those ones where they were like a pole and then you'd twist it like that and you go... Yeah, that.
Oh god,
That-
yeah.
I
Is that
don't
one
know
of
what they
them as
were
well?
called.
I don't know what they were... We all owned one. We don't
Yeah.
know
Oh,
what
I
everyone
don't
had
know.
one.
Yeah, but I don't know what it was called, though.
So, we do also have Justice League 3 details. Do you want to know them? Ba, 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 ba.
Is it
Go
Mad
ahead.
Max?
You're going to give us
Thing?
a choice? Can we say no? Can we just skip past
I mean,
this?
we could, but it's too funny. So, 5 years go by, the Justice League reunites, but they're all sort of darker now. And a good example of what that means is...
Wait, hold on. What do you mean they're all sort of darker now? This is a Zack Snyder film.
I'll
They weren't
tell you what
light
it
to
means.
begin with.
I'll tell you what it means. What it means is Cyborg is like strung up inside the Batcave, and he's like connected to all sorts of machinery, like he's hanging like inside the
that
Batcave.
neat?
Which the thing is that sounds like it could be a cool visual, but I am going to remind you that in the Snyderverse, the Batcave is just an office basement.
Yeah. With a waterfall in it.
It's probably just there with, like, his finger is a USB stick just, like, plugged into a monitor. That's it. That's him plugged in.
Minimalism.
Batman's hooked him up to his like gaming rig. He's playing fucking Fortnite on it in the apocalypse. What do you mean? That's the way it is.
Do you reckon they would play as the Marvel characters in Fortnite?
They have to.
Nah, John
Nah.
Wick.
Batman, I imagine, is definitely narcissistic, so he'd play as himself.
Good point.
Like, he
Good
would
point.
definitely be like throwing batarangs and like, yeah, boy. I
So
remember when I used to do that.
the reason Cyborg is plugged into all the machinery is he's building stuff. One of those things is the cosmic treadmill, which in the comics is the thing the Flash uses to travel in time. I don't think it would have been an actual treadmill in the Snyderverse because that's kind of silly, but that's what they're building.
I mean, it might have the actual floor bit, not like not like in the thing where it's literally got like the panel in front, like an actual treadmill
Yeah,
does,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
the bars at the side to hold on to, like it's a literal treadmill.
It's so silly. Superman is evil, like in the Batman vs Superman thing, and the reason he's evil is because Lois Lane is dead, basically. She's the key. So the mission is, they've got to go back, Flash has got to go back in time, and he accidentally goes back in time too far, and that's Batman vs Superman, and he's got to try and stop Lois Lane from dying in Justice League 2, so that Superman doesn't go evil and everything gets fucked up.
And she's fucked Batman at this point.
She has fucked Batman, yeah, but when he eventually gets there and succeeds, and she doesn't die in that timeline, they have fucked. then what happens is Darkseid still shows up, and for the record, I do think this could have been cool. And Green Lantern's in it as well. It doesn't do much, but he's in the movie. Just pointing out
Sprinkler character here.
some Green Lanterns, a bunch of humans, a bunch of Atlanteans, and a bunch of Amazons all unite to fight the armies of Darkseid. And that could have been cool, you know?
See,
Sounds very familiar.
the concept of a hole.
Do they all come out of portals or something?
They might come out. They'll come out of portals. Yeah.
Yeah, all these different sort of groups of people from various different backgrounds. All of them have slightly different power sets.
Yeah.
All uniting against a big evil. That's a pretty good. Someone should do that.
That would be great. If
Yeah.
I agree. It'd also be really good if it was paying off after 20 something odd movies and not fucking 3. So they all have a big fight. They punch for a bit until Darkseid dies and Batman dies. Da-na-na. So they win, but Batman's dead in the new timeline. And then we cut to 20 years later. Right?
Right.
Lois and Commissioner Barbara Gordon are on a rooftop in Gotham. And Barbara Gordon's like, crime's coming back to Gotham for the first time. We need a protector in. So
Why did it
Lois...
take 20 years?
No crime as well, at all. Not one. Not
Not
one
even a kid robbing
misdemeanor.
a candy bar from a store. Not even. Wow.
This is post-apocalyptic. Well, I suppose pre that. I assume they're rebuilding after 20 years. Post, yeah. So as they're rebuilding, I imagine there's a lot of still poor people who don't have a house who are going to be nicking stuff. That's a crime.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So-
and all of Batman's villains would still be rocking about,
Yeah.
But whatever. So Lois, after that conversation, goes back to the Batcave with her and Batman's son, and is like, right, it's probably your birthright or whatever to endanger yourself to save the city. So the final shot of the movie is someone who is not Bruce Wayne putting on a Batman costume. That's what 3 years of that's what 3 Justice League movies would have built to. So to simulate that, join us next time when I'll put on a Batman costume, and it's essentially the same.
I forget that it's Ben Affleck as well.
Oof.
I mean,
You got to. We're not getting that.
No.
I mean,
I couldn't care. I don't care. Oh, it was bold.
wait.
But it was. It was Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, right?
Yes.
That had that time travel bit. In
Yes.
It. Was that meant to be their Avengers film, basically, where they unite all their heroes together? Would you say?
probably.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Sort of. Bold of them to do time when Zack Snyder's planning this thing way off in the future. He tries to plant a callback that's time travel that early on. Just take it one film at a time. Just take your time over it. But oh well.
The thing for me is him having all the films planned out and him being right, I know I'm going to do time travel here, so I'm going to put something way back here so it flows. But the problem is, we don't really care who any of these characters are, because the only one who's had a backstory is Superman. So, the Flash appears, and we're like, it's the Flash. Great. I don't care who he is, because even then, you're watching it, and I'm like, it happened, and instead of it being oh fuck, it's the Flash, it was like, is that the Flash? Alright.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And I was
even then, even if you've been growing up watching Justice League cartoons and reading Flash comics or whatever, it's a different version, who sort of runs like this with their arms outstretched all the time. And I'm like, I don't know who that is,
That's a great visual.
That's what Zack's films look like.
Just, I don't know. You needed to do better. You needed to do other stuff first. But, nah, he just wanted to go straight to, the end. Shit. And now we have to sit through 4 hours of him trying to get as much of that into the first film as he possibly can. Because there is no way there. Unless his cut is somehow actually good, like there is
Yeah.
no way they're gonna let him make any more of those films.
He doesn't
Like-
want to. That's why we know the plot details now. He said he's not doing it.
Oh, okay. Oh well, that's good then.
That's
Okay.
somewhat of a relief, I
Yeah.
suppose.
Yeah,
Yeah, we don't have to worry about it.
man. At least all that money's not going to waste. I mean, it probably will go on something else that's shit, but at least it's not him. It's fine.
Yeah, Warner Brothers in it.
Those hire Michael Bay instead.
Oh, no. No. No, I didn't think it could get worse. You presented a scenario where it can. Oh, man. Well, moving away from that, let's go into something a bit more casual, right? And I want to know if anyone's been watching or reading or just seeing anything that they might want to talk about. Just what have people been checking out recently? Because for me, it's just been Marvel and WandaVision, but like we're going to talk about that at the end anyways.
Yeah. I mean, is anyone... The only thing I've watched, like, recently... I mean, I've watched a bunch of stuff recently, but the thing that's really stood out to me, right, is that Capone on Netflix. Has anyone watched that?
No, do tell.
The one with Tom Hardy.
I've
So
heard
it's not
mixed
good.
things about it. Oh, okay.
I'm not gonna lie to you. It's not good. It makes me think that... Right, okay, so obviously we did Fantastic Four, didn't we? And it's what's his name? Josh...
Oh, it's just Trank
Trank?
film. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So...
Oh.
He was when Fantastic Four came out, he was all like, "Oh, the studio messed it up. I had a good film. There was a good film there, and the studio messed it up." And yeah, I believe, yeah, probably the studio did mess it up. But watching Capone, a film which he funded himself and had complete... I mean, again, I don't know. I wasn't, I don't have insider information, but it was said that he had complete control. Maybe not complete, but pretty much a lot of control. A lot more than he did in Fantastic Four. This film still kind of turned out bad. And it's not... A lot of excuses I'm seeing people say is, oh, well, the studio forced him to name it Capone instead of the original title, which was like Fonz or whatever. That's not the problem with it. Yeah, okay, the problem is that it's called Capone and you go in, it's like a deep dive into a guy about dementia. But it's not. It's like there's two stories going on. Like 1 minute you're with like Al Capone as he's like having visions of his days back when he was a gangster, and then the next you're in some fucking office in Washington DC, and all these agents are like, yeah, we gotta find his money. It's buried somewhere in his property. It's like, what's happening? There's two.
So it's
different
not
stories.
about him being a gangster at all.
No, it's about his last year of his life when he's shitting the bed and pissing himself, and he's got like that happens. Both of those things happen in the film.
Delightful.
And he's having like nightmares and like visions of his like flashbacks of his like when he was a gangster, but they're not. Like what the thing that could have been cool is instead of there's like, but yeah, there's all that he's got like he's obviously he's dying because he has like, what did he have? It's like is it what's that disease that he died of? I don't know. Anyway, because he's got dementia because of it. So
Right.
He's kind of deteriorating throughout the movie. But then at the same time, you've got this kind of plot about these FBI agents who are watching his house, who think he's got like $10 million buried somewhere. So they're trying to figure out where it is. And it's so imbalanced, you know what I mean? It's kind of just boring as well. Like the bits with Tom Hardy and his flashbacks and stuff, like they're cool. But there's not enough of him.
It kind of sounds like... Have you ever seen Limitless? Gerard Butler.
Yeah.
So the way they advertised that movie was... The premise of the movie, for anyone who doesn't know, is Gerard Butler's like a failing writer and he can't concentrate. So
Wait, isn't it Thingy? It's Thingy, isn't it? It's Bradley Cooper, isn't it? Not Gerard Butler.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it is Bradley Cooper. God,
Yeah.
I don't even know. They're not even remotely similar.
No.
I can't even explain that. Yeah, Bradley Cooper. So Bradley Cooper's a failing writer, and he finds this pill that can like help him like hyper concentrate. And when he takes it, the film's visuals all go wacky, and you see like 18 Bradley Coopers going about his house doing all the tidying and stuff, and it's quite visually fun, right? And at some point in the plot, he becomes a businessman with what's that guy's name from Taxi Driver and Meet the Fockers?
Oh,
Yes,
De Niro,
it's
yeah.
Robert De Niro. I should have been able to pick out more De Niro films than Meet the Fockers. He meets Robert De Niro as a businessman, and he's like, "Hey, kid, you got a lot of moxie. You should become a businessman." So the first 30 minutes are really visually interesting because it's all about this pill, and then the entire rest of the film is just about high-end American business politics with Robert De Niro.
Yeah,
It's pretty dull.
and him just being really smart, and then all of a sudden there's
If the
gangsters.
film was
and
called High-End American Politics with Robert De Niro. I mean, what a film.
Yes, suddenly
Yeah.
I'm in. Yeah.
Yeah.
shit. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like that. Yeah, so like, it just feels like, you know what? Right, this is what it feels like. It feels like he's writing the script. He's like, oh man, there's some cool scenes, you know. Oh, maybe I'll have that bit of this in there. You know, it's cool because it's 1920s, it's gangsters, the speakeasies and stuff. And then halfway through writing the film, he discovered, by just casual research or whatever, that Al Capone may have buried some money one day. And it's like, okay, let's add that to the film. So he just adds it in. He just pushes it into the story. And he doesn't look back and check how it ruins the... It's so... Like, the film could have been good if it was just him kind of just slowly, like, deteriorating, and you see all these different flashbacks to him being a gangster and stuff. No, it's just not. There's, like, one big scene where a bunch of people get shot or whatever, and you don't actually see them get shot. You just hear it as he's, like, talking to some woman. Yeah,
so
and he's
lame.
also got another son or whatever. That doesn't really... Yeah, it's fine. And Tom Hardy's good in it, though.
Watch that,
so
then.
That's good.
So what
Like,
we're
the
learning
only-
essentially is that superhero movie we made was a fluke. Can't remember what it's called
Yeah.
now.
Oh, Chronicle.
Chronicle. Yeah, that was a fluke.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. So, rip. But, you know, what we do learn is, even in a bad movie like Capone, Tom Hardy's still good. So, Tom Hardy's a good actor. And
Yeah.
Josh Trank's not a good director. That's
I
what
mean,
I
he
took
made
away from
Venom
that film.
work.
Well, yeah, that's
Like,
the
that
thing about
the
Venom.
movie shouldn't
He's
have
good in
worked, though.
Venom. Like, the accent's a bit funny at times, but Tom Hardy's, you know, he's... When he's not doing his, you know, classic, you know, London accent, you know, Cockney like you, I'm Tom Hardy. Like, he kind of, when he does other, like, his Texas accent in The Revenant's a bit murky at times. It's good, but it's a bit murky, so... But in this,
Did everyone see
he
all the
doesn't
stuff
really
that came out
speak.
about his MySpace?
What? No.
MySpace.
Did you not see?
Oh,
anyone
man,
seen
that
it?
was-
Like,
No.
anyone seen any of this?
That was
Do
years
tell.
ago. I remember his
Basically.
MySpace. That was like years and years. That was like before he was famous, something, wasn't it?
Yeah, people.
I remember us laughing about that in college.
All the basic girls who basically can't hack people being bisexual are all getting angry because all these pictures have come out basically, and he's basically said, like, you know, he had relationships with men, he was very open, he was very kind of fluid in who he... Honestly, Google the pictures, like it looks like a completely different person. It's amazing. And all these girls, I remember, were replying to the comments of this Twitter post saying, like, oh my God, so he's not this, like, roughy-tufty Cockney sort of London guy. He's actually some guy who just, like, you know, posted butt pics all over MySpace. Like, people were getting so triggered at the idea that Tom Hardy could have been bisexual at
I
one
love
point.
that.
And
What the fuck?
I don't.
honestly, if I find it, I'll send it to you guys, but Google it.
It's.
I love him being
it's
referred to as a
amazing
roughy,
how, like-
tufty cockney.
Yeah, people have watched Peaky Blinders and they're like, yeah, he's definitely like that in real life.
Yeah.
It's amazing how like things like that just keep like resurfacing. Like I remember, like I said, I remember us laughing about that stuff in like high school and college and stuff. Like there's pictures of him like in a door frame in his underwear, like striking a pose like that or some shit.
Nice.
And like, yeah, it was like all before he was like famous and stuff. But yeah, my guy Tom Hardy.
I love that.
Not
Hey,
ashamed.
that's all still to come in the future, because now that we exist in a world where we post everything on social media, in another 10, 15 years, all of our celebrities are going to have embarrassing backgrounds online. It's going to be fantastic. I can't wait. So, should we move on to the reason for the episode? Let's talk about Wandavision, which, as we sit here record, ended literally yesterday. So let's do non-spoilers first, and I'll put like a time code in the description for if you want to skip the spoiler section that's coming up. Generally, what do we think of WandaVision as a show?
Good.
Good, yeah. I enjoyed it.
Good.
I wasn't.
I like that
fussed
it was
at
different.
first. Yeah.
Good length as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Like
I'm
the
glad that they're not
only-
doing a second season, are they?
Nope.
I can't imagine how they
That
would.
makes me happy. I'd keep
Yeah.
it as one season.
Because I'm not super familiar with all the different Marvel TV shows that exist, like Cloak and Dagger and Runaways and
They're like
Legion.
non-canon now anyway.
yeah,
So.
I've not seen those ones, but all the Netflix ones I watched, and they were good at the time, but then they'd get to episode 10 and there'd be 3 more episodes, and you'd be like, all right then, why is that? But I guess because this is wholly Disney Plus, they can do what they want with it. They can have it released at whatever time, have the episodes be however long. They were able to control episode length and pacing a bit better, I guess, maybe. So it felt
Definitely.
just about the right amount
When-
of time.
when-
And I'm
when-
glad it wasn't all dumped at once as well.
When the show's
you couldn't binge it.
penultimate episode finished, and I remember really enjoying it, but I remember thinking at the time, like, God, you've got a lot of balls in the air still. Like, you've got a lot of moving pieces and only one episode left to get us through. Like, is this actually going to be okay? And as it turns out, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was a nice, fun sort of superhero-y third act. So yeah, I mean, generally, other than just like general recommendations, it's hard to talk about the show without getting into the spoilers because every aspect of the show is obviously it's well thought out and it's informed with the next bit. So we'll just go straight into like spoilers and stuff. So the story being essentially Wanda Maximoff creating an entire fake reality to cope with her grief and having that manifest in the form of sitcoms from different eras and manipulated from the darkness by the evil witch Agatha Harkness. So what do we think of all that stuff? Like the different aesthetics, how they utilize different time periods to tell different stories. Do we think it worked? Did we not? Did we enjoy it?
I think it was cool, yeah. It was,
Yeah, glad
I
it
enjoyed
was different.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Like, it was very much one of those things where you're watching it and you're like, what the fuck is going on? But you kind of want to carry on watching because you're like, I want to know what the fuck's going on. And then, yeah. Oh, yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Someone-
it's something that only, like, if someone was to pitch the idea of someone with all this past trauma and grief and they cope with it by creating and manifesting this world where they relive things out in sitcoms, it wouldn't work unless it's Marvel. Or unless it's Scarlet Witch with this several years worth of backstory.
It helps that you know that like
Yeah.
it's a superpowered entity, because the danger with doing that kind of show is it almost always lends itself to the conclusion kind of has to be, oh, it was all a dream, and that's going to off-put some people. But because you go in and you know that it's wrong from the start, I think it kind of helps. Like I saw someone make a really interesting point that like the way Wandavision like develops over time, it's really interesting the way it produces information to the audience and continues to ask its audience questions. But there was something really special about the first 2 episodes where they are essentially just 50s and 60s sitcoms, but with just a little bit of something that's off.
Yeah.
You know, and that was nice. And we can't go back to that now because, you know, we know what the full payoff is, so we can't ever really recapture that feeling. But like the first episode, which has like the dinner party sequence, and then that guy starts choking, and all the music starts to go to. That was really good shit. It was really good shit.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
it's all well executed, all of it.
I think like the whole thing, it's kind of like it kind of shows as well, which I kind of like, that it's not like the concept as a whole, I imagine would have been really hard to pitch. Like, imagine pitching that, like, yeah, okay, we're going to take these characters and we're going to take them into different sitcoms, and they're going to be living in different sitcoms, and it's going to be this, this, and this. But the fact that they've kind of done it kind of shows that Marvel, you know, that they're not, you know, they're kind of willing to take risks with it. Like, either that or, like, the thing, like, because I remember when they announced all these different shows, they were like, oh, you got your Winter, you got your Loki one, all these other ones. And then we saw, like, Wanda and Vision. And we're all kind of like, okay, I mean, sure, I guess, if you want. And I remember
And
finding
at the time,
out that,
it
like,
came across as a really terrible name as well.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
WandaVision, really. Like,
Yeah, it's just the whole thing. You're like, all right, fine. TV show about them too. And we found out that she was going to be in Doctor Strange. And I remember telling whoever it was, I was like, oh man, they've done that on purpose. They've put her in Doctor Strange because so it's like, if you want to know what's going on with her in Doctor Strange, you need to watch the show, and they know no one's going to watch the show and stuff. And I think by making the show kind of like this so strange, but really it's kind of like it's kind of got people, it surprised me, you know what I mean? I went into it expecting it to be just kind of like, it's just, I'm watching it because it's Marvel, I'm not that bothered. But then by the end of it, I was like, all right, what's going on? I'm ready for this. Like, it made me excited for Fridays the way, like, The Mandalorian did and stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, it was good. And then, when does Thingy start? From, like, now? It starts, like, in, like, 2 weeks, doesn't it? Something.
2 weeks. Yeah.
Falcon the Winter Soldier, 2 weeks. And next
Madness.
week, if anyone, it's not as vital you watch it for storytelling, but you got the making of WandaVision next week.
Which I probably will
That
tune
should be
into,
really
to confirm.
good. I'm
looking forward to that. So it means that'll bridge the gap between... So we're just having constant
Oh,
Marvel,
yeah. Someone
which
worked
is
out
brilliant.
that all year there isn't a break for Marvel content.
That's
Like, the burnout, it's gonna happen. It is going to happen. But,
true. But it's very varied, I feel. Because you've got...
Yeah, I feel
Because
I think
this wasn't like an action film or a spy film. It was something entirely kind of unique and different. Then we're going to get the spy action Winter Soldier type stuff for like the next couple of months. Then what comes after that? We get Black Widow, which fits into that. Then Shang-Chi.
Loki.
Or
Is
Loki.
it not Loki?
Loki is going to be... I think it is.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
gonna be
excited for
different
Loki,
again.
actually. That's going to be
'Cause-
interesting. That's like time travel stuff.
Yeah.
While it's still going to be Marvel, it's not going to be the same set of tropes. It's going to be time travel in space and dimension stuff. So, a lot of content, but it is all quite varied still. Which,
Yeah.
I think eases the burnout a little bit.
I
like-
hope you're right. I really hope you're right. I don't want to be burnt out on this stuff,
Like, my fear a bit is, as well, they're making all these shows. So, how many shows are coming out this year? Obviously, WandaVision, Falcon,
Loki,
Winter Soldier, Loki. Miss Marvel comes out this year as well. Hawkeye
true.
comes out this year. That's
Yeah.
5
Yeah.
TV shows. What are the chances that all 5 of those TV shows are really good?
Right? It is pretty low, yeah.
I'm
it's gonna be
afraid that we're gonna get one that's not good. Like the fact that, especially if like, One Division was good, and then say I don't know, Falcon Winter Soldier is good, and then say Loki's really good, and then we get like Hawkeye, which is fine, but it's gonna, because the past 3 were good, really good. It's gonna make Hawkeye look really shit, even if it's like
By
it could
comparison.
be good. Yeah, but it could.
Yeah.
That's kind of the problem with it being all of them in one go.
Yeah.
Like you're watching one
suppose.
after the other. Like if you watched all the Netflix ones, you're gonna watch like Daredevil, and you're gonna watch like Jessica Jones, and then you watch Bloody Iron Fist, and then you can just see the qualities go straight down.
Yeah.
It just
Definitely.
like that is a risk. Like, I mean, I don't know if they make them all different and good, maybe not, but I don't know. It's a risk that they obviously are willing to take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope they all come out well. I think one of the things that WandaVision was good at for me personally is because I have developed, let's call it an aversion to a particular type of storytelling that I think WandaVision has allowed me to pull back from, which was, let's call it mystery box style storytelling. The old JJ formula, right? And,
Yeah.
and that's also the reason why I've developed an aversion to it. But with WandaVision, they would set up boxes, then they would know what's in the box, and it was satisfying watching them get opened, almost every time, with the notable exception of like one, right?
Which one?
And that one, which still has the potential to turn out good in the long run, is Ralph Boner.
I love that one so much. It's easily my favourite one. Like, just the ultimate, nah, fuck you, Evan Peters is not relevant at all. He's got nothing to do with it. And they call him Boner.
So yeah, so Evan Peters sort of reprised his role as Quicksilver, but in the end turned out not to. And I think it was an interesting choice, and I think from a fuck you perspective, it is quite fun. A lot of people are really mad about it, and I understand why they're mad about it.
So bad.
I'm going to 100% confess to laughing at the boner line, because you know what did it, right? This is what happened. Is we saw the words Ralph Boner, and then she said the word Ralph Boner, and I internally went boner, and then Evan Peters did the same thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, I
So
remember,
it
like,
just worked.
it's not spelled boner. It's something really weird, though, isn't it? Like, it's some...
BOH.
Yeah, I remember reading it. I was like, oh, man, that's such unfortunate. My guy's called boner, thinking they're going to call him something else, and then she said it. I was like, what the fuck? Like, all right. Who wrote that line?
Here's the thing with that casting is, for the people who were disappointed, I have to say the WandaVision team did attempt some form of damage control pretty early on. Like, they were doing interviews, and I know everyone doesn't read these interviews, but certainly the audience for this show is much wider from the people who engage in pop culture discussion. Certainly, like, I think it was episode 8 crashed Disney Plus when it went live, so
Yeah.
you know, it's been really popular. But they tried to say, we cast Evan Peters because we wanted to stick to the idea of something feeling off and something feeling wrong. And classic sitcoms would often just recast popular characters without explanation, that kind of thing. And they wanted to play off that idea. Now, casting Evan Peters in particular...
It's very cheeky.
It's very cheeky. You've got to know that people are going to know. You know, that's Quicksilver in another universe. And even if you're not an X-Men fan, or you've not seen any of the Fox movies, when he debuted, you're maybe 2 Google searches away from finding that Sweet Dreams scene from Apocalypse. You know what I mean? Like, people loved that version of the character and those sequences. And so everyone's going to know. So I think setting it up does sort of set you up for failure when you don't pay off. However, there's the potential, and this is not me clinging on to like a fan theory, there is actually still the potential that he's still playing Quicksilver. The way they played it off is like, there's some ambiguity, because there's a chance that Agatha has recast him as Ralph the same way Wanda assigned people new identities and names and backstories, and it's not clear whether or not the necklace gave him the super speed or not. That was manipulating him. He did have the super speed. He could genuinely just be... Because a lot of people thought, and we can use this to bridge into the big last segment, a lot of people thought that Wanda was going to rip open the multiverse during this show, because, in large part, fan theories ran wild and they stopped paying attention to the story that was being told. This is not a story about Wanda opening the multiverse. It was a story about someone dealing with grief, and ultimately, like, paid that off. In terms of, like, these fan theories, though, one of the ones that I kind of have about the potential future of Phase 4 is the multiverse is still gonna get opened. We know this because the Doctor Strange movie is literally called Multiverse of Madness. You know, there's no hiding from it. And Loki is also supposedly going to deal with multiverse stuff. My working theory is the Infinity Stones being used in quite quick succession in only like 5 years broke it open. Not in a way where everything's crossing over and piling over and you get lots of different versions of characters, but just the potential for someone to slip through a crack.
Yeah.
That's what I'm suggesting. And I can see a reality where Agatha Harkness came into possession of clearly another universe's Quicksilver and went, I can use that. I can use him, you know? Yeah. That's going to work out. So let's bring that on to fan theories. I'm sure we've all heard a lot, read a lot, maybe even had a lot. So I've got some here. I've brought them down into different categories. If you've read any others or have any that relate, feel free to jump in. So, yeah, let's start with Evan Peters, because there was some wild ones surrounding him. So obviously, Evan Peters as Quicksilver was the automatic assumption, so other people had to say, no, he's not. So while they were technically correct in the end, they were suggesting he was Mephisto.
That was a common one.
I saw
which
that.
is essentially the Marvel Universe's devil. And the reason was because when in the Halloween episode he had like horns in his hair, even though that's just what Quicksilver's hair looks like in the comics.
Yeah.
Some of the trying to find evidence for these is ridiculous.
It's
I
so thin on
found
the
one.
ground, isn't it?
That was Quicksilver is a vampiric entity draining Wanda's magic for sustenance.
Oh my god.
Right? And that's the proof being was the kids compared him or thought he was a vampire while he was asleep on the sofa.
Right?
And also, I think it was that episode where we got that like Yo Magic animated advert. And someone made the comparison that the shark in that advert was grey and white.
Oh my god.
And Quicksilver is grey and silver. And sharks, the shark caused that little boy on the island to die. So that's what Quicksilver's going to do to Wanda because of the magic.
Oof.
Fuck's sake.
Yeah, that was my exact reaction.
He
no
was
way
also
people,
potentially...
There's no way people think that. Like, they can't... I cannot see a reality where someone actually thought that was, like, a good... They like, oh my god, the shark is grey and white. Like, fucking look at a shark. What do you mean it's grey and white? Of course it's fucking grey and white. It's not normally blue. Like, it just... I don't know. Oh, man, someone's just trying to get clicks for that one, you know what I mean?
There was a bunch of other ones where he was supposed to turn out to be a character called Nightmare, which is basically just Mephisto in green. So I read that fan theory as kind of being like rejecting the Mephisto fan theorists, but not rejecting the idea entirely. So they're like, no, he's actually this other evil magic user. So we also had like people thought he was a character called Mordred the Mystic, all sorts of stuff going on with that. And as for other characters that were supposed to turn out to be other people, there was an aerospace engineer, which
this aerospace engineer.
Some controversy. A throwaway line of Monica Rambeau saying, I know an aerospace engineer, turned into John Krasinski's been cast as Reed Richards and he's going to show up in this show.
It would have been good, though. It would have been good.
Yeah.
But also, it's not the time or the place for introducing Fantastic Four, is it?
Right, absolutely not. And do you know what? Quite controversially here, I've definitely said this to you, Joe. I don't think John Krasinski should play Reed Richards. I've seen the Photoshop. He's too charming. It's a misunderstanding of who Reed is. Reed is a bastard. Absolutely, through and through. He is not a likable character. It just shouldn't be Krasinski.
Ramsay from Game of Thrones. What's that guy's real name?
Shit, that's not a
Ewan
bad
Rowan.
call, you know.
It's like
That's
Ewan
not
Rowan.
bad.
It's very Welsh.
Not someone, actually. Charlotte, my partner in the background, had a really good casting for Reed. That was a bit left field. John Hamm.
Ooh.
John Hamm
yeah.
Reed Richards.
All right.
You know what though? Like, if you watch Mad Men, he's got the charm there, but he is a bit of a prick. And I say a bit of a prick. He's a massive prick. Like, he's like, you know what I mean? He's fucking constantly cheating on his wife, but then he goes home and he's like, "Why is my food not on the table, bitch?" He doesn't say that, but like, you know what I mean? It's that kind of vibe. It's really weird. I could see that. I could see him being thingy.
I got a question though. Isn't he now at the center of a controversy? Is this the right person? Where people are claiming that he wanted to do like cannibalistic things during sexual.
No, that's Armie Hammer.
Armie Hammer. Yeah,
That's where I'm
Armie
getting
Hammer.
confused.
Nah, my man John Hamm, he wouldn't be done. He wouldn't be about that cannibal life. You know what I mean?
I was trying to remember names.
I couldn't believe that, when I read that, when I saw his fucking name trending. Not what I thought would come up. So yeah.
Do you have any other names for the aerospace engineer thing?
So people did float a couple of suggestions. The actual character who showed up in the show, people suggested that she is a Skrull, which was an actual good idea, I thought, especially given the mid-credit scene. The other name I got was J. Jonah Jameson's son. Okay, now here's the thing.
He's like, yeah.
I've read a lot of comics. I actually didn't know J had a son, and then I read this theory, and during reading this theory, it turns out that J. Jonah Jameson's son is also a werewolf, and I stopped reading the theory.
Wait, in the comics he's a werewolf, or?
Yes.
Brilliant.
I had to reject everything I was seeing whole cloth because J. Jonah Jameson's son is a werewolf.
Right.
Fantastic.
Okay.
I found 2 additional names as well as those ones.
Yeah, go on.
Jane Foster,
What?
which why? Just why?
Is it because
How
Darcy's
weird would that
in the
have
show?
been?
Well, I think it was partially because Darcy was in the show, but it was the fact that Monica would recommend her rather than Darcy for one. But I think it's more.
Yeah.
I think the bit that I saw, or most of the things I found were from Reddit. So take that as you will. Someone quoted the bit where in Age of Ultron, where they have that, like Thor and Tony Stark have that back and forth about whose girlfriend is better, and because she's gonna get like a Nobel Prize or something, they're like, oh, she's smart, aerospace engineer. That's who this could be. But yeah, that's not really evidence.
Bloody hell.
And the other one was Shuri.
Shuri. Again, it's just smart people from the fucking MCU.
Yeah,
I came up with a theory about the aerospace engineer, which I didn't think was terrible, which was there's a character called the Blue Marvel. Bad name. But my reasoning was so they're kind of setting up new Avengers and young Avengers and stuff in Phase 4. It's pretty clear. But they've also got a lot of working members of the main universe, the 616 main Marvel universe, Ultimates, which, so their whole deal, these comics are pretty good actually, Al Ewing, and their mission was to permanently find a solution to the big threats that face the Marvel universe. So it was Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau, Black Panther, America Chavez, who was going to show up in our movie. I think it might be Doctor Strange actually, and the Blue Marvel. And so the first thing they did was they need to find a solution to Galactus because we can't kill him, you just can't stop him, but he's always just going to come round. So they find, because Galactus comes from before time, like before the universe. Look, it's dumb. They find a way to get out the universe and find like a bit, like a something, a MacGuffin from his universe. And he came through in this like pod, so they also find the pod, and they make him get back in the pod, and it it reverses his DNA. So instead of being constantly hungry and needing to feed, he
Constantly
thinks
shitting.
yes, all the time. Leaving this trail of gigantic chunks all across his face. No. So they make his life compulsion to bring life. So he goes to every single planet that he has sort of killed in the past and rebirths it, basically gives it life again. So he goes from Galactus the World Enter to Galactus the Lifebringer. And it was kind of an interesting idea. So I thought they might be also setting up the Ultimates because you've kind of almost got the full team in the movies already. Yeah. So that's kind of aerospace engineers. We had a lot of other rumored cameos. Doctor Strange was supposed to be in it.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Based on nothing, basically. Just
like,
would be
to
nice.
be fair, I did think that bit when they're at the cabin in the very last episode, like she's going to be chilling or whatever, and like you're going to see, like he didn't even need to be in it. Like you would just see like the circle thing start to appear and it would go off or something like that. That's where I thought that was going. Like they didn't need to pay Benedict Cumberbatch to be in it, but
I didn't notice this because Marvel music is generally quite bland. But apparently the music that's playing while she's reading the Darkhold is Doctor Strange's theme.
Oh, fair. I mean,
it's like a darker version of it. I heard that as well, which just sort of leans towards her being in that next movie rather than him showing up.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think a lot of the cameo rumours weren't helped by Paul Bettany. Have you heard all about what happened there?
Paul Bettany playing a 10-week troll? Oh, what a guy.
Fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. But yeah, I love how he started off as just like a funny joke, and it's just obviously spiraled because fans are going to theorize about everything you say.
There's a lot of cool things that this show sets up. Like, outside the theory stuff for a second, the ambiguity to Wanda's future and potentially being corrupted by the Darkhold, all really interesting shit. There being another Vision out there in the world somewhere who's having to come to terms with his own existence, that's really interesting shit. You know, I am excited for these leads to be picked up somewhere else. And it makes a fresh change because I'm used to a lot of shows that kind of like dangle carrots and then, but it's because the only thing they've got, you know, Like they don't actually have a good story, but they keep promising you that at some point it's going to get good. But this succeeded in having the actual story be good and teasing at future exciting things as well. You know, it was a nice mixture. Back in the fan theory stuff, so other cameos. Doctor Strange was supposed to turn up. Spider-Man was supposed to be in it as well. People thought Spider-Man was going to show up.
Really?
Why?
Well, because people are still excited for this Spider-Verse movie that no one's confirmed yet. So Tom Holland
Imagine if
was
it's
supposed
not
to
a
show up.
Spider-Verse movie. Imagine if it's nothing like that at all. It's just something else.
There's not really
entirely.
been any indication that it's even got like multiverse. Like all these people, like Jamie Foxx and Alfred, whatever his second name is, like they've not actually confirmed that they're reprising the roles. They're just in it. So like they could be a new version of Doc Ock, and they could be just a new version of Electro. They've just given them the roles again because they were cool the last. Well, one of them was cool the last time. The other one was played a bit. But so
Maybe
like,
they're
everyone
related
that's
to
jumped-
Ralph Boner.
Oh my god, the whole
Maybe.
Bonner family.
Yep. That's what it is. Every time they think that they tease they're bringing back a character from a different universe, it's just, it's Boner. It's just
See,
Uncle
what if,
Boner
like-
over here.
Into
Like, what
the
if that's like
Bonerverse.
going to be like a
Boner.
like what if like that's like a running theme now in like all of this stuff? Like every single piece of Marvel media is going to bring back someone to reprise the role. They're going to bring back Chris Evans as the Human Torch in a different
God.
universe.
That'd be amazing.
Oh,
They're going to bring back, I don't know, other people who've done other stuff. Those guys who played the Fantastic Four in the 90s. I don't know. Just that version of Spider-Man that was in the 90s show, and he would... What's that? You know that bit where he's black Spider-Man, and he's like chasing... Is it Shocker or something? He's like screaming at him. Like, Shocker! That one. Bring that one. 90s show. If you don't know what I'm talking about,
No, I
Google it. It's fucking amazing. Nah, it's amazing. But
They should bring back the
Really
Japanese
weird.
Spider-Man.
they should bring that
Should
one
do,
back. I would love to see that.
that'd be good.
This big, like, Megazord.
Yeah, absolutely. So, other cameos. Loki was predicted to be in it. Again, based on basically nothing other than he has a show to promote. That's actually what they should have done. Loki should have... One of the advert segments should have just been like a talk show, and Loki's promoting this upcoming show on Disney+.
Yes. Yeah.
Then we had some more kind of like other movie style stuff. So, Sword was people were predicting that Sword was going to turn out to be AIM, the villains from Iron Man 3.
I heard they could have been Hydra.
Oh, yeah.
Or the
Hydra, yeah.
Strucker was the one running it, even though he's dead.
We have so I love these two. So one of them is the Dottie related. So the woman from episode was it 2 or 3? It was 2.
2.
Dottie is Emma Frost and is secretly mind controlling everyone in Westview.
What? What?
Yeah. And my other favorite one is it doesn't give them explicit character names, but Dottie and Phil are in the Squadron Supreme, which is Marvel's kind of parody Justice League.
Okay.
Why do people think that these would be good ideas and ways to introduce these like characters and properties, you know? Unbelievable.
Have you heard any of the ones about Hayward? Director or acting director Hayward?
Well, so I've got 2 written down here, and one of them is my own terrible theory. So
Ooh.
one of them is Hayward is a Skrull. That's not mine. It's just a general, what if he's a Skrull? And this one is mine. What if Hayward is Ultron?
I've heard that one a lot.
Yeah, I've heard something along
I've
those
heard that
lines.
one a lot. And
So I told Joe this, and this was my justification. It was that Hayward was only interested in Vision, and, obviously Ultron wanted to get Vision's body back. And in the comics, Ultron comes back a lot. That's why he's the big Avengers villain, is because he just finds a way to come back a lot. And he has disguised himself as a person before. Just looked like a person. I recognized at the time that it was stupid, that if it played out, it would also be stupid. I'm glad it didn't play out, to be honest with
Imagine
you.
that like Mission Impossible style reveal where he pulls the face off,
Pulls the mask off.
and it's just his head on the shoulders.
It's like the full mechanical one as well, with like the spikes and everything. It's
Yeah.
like, the head is bigger than the human head. That would have been amazing.
Oh, man.
I heard something that went along with that theory, that Hayward was made out of vibranium. And yep. And
Is he just
they
like
put
that metal
Hayward
dude from Terminator, the one that he can just like morph into like shit?
just
Just like
shape
vibranium.
changing, yeah.
You can just turn into
Vibranium.
Captain America's shield.
Well, they claimed that they had proof for
Oh.
this. So what it was, they said Hayward is made out of vibranium. Here's proof, and it was a link to a picture, and the picture was of, like, you know, that scanning map when they were tracking the decay of the vibranium, which was vision inside the hex, and then outside in like one of the buildings there was a little dot that was also seeming to be vibranium, and they saw that and was like, right, that's proof that Hayward is absolutely made out of vibranium. Not they had some somewhere else, or it was a new vision, which is what, if someone had guessed that, all right, fair enough, good guess, you're smart. But their immediate assumption was, this is Hayward. They also said, oh, it can't be Monica or Jimmy Woo or Darcy, because then they're all off site at this point. Why would you assume that because vibranium was showing up on a map, it would be one of the main characters?
Yeah,
Like, some of the links
So
are
weird.
very tenuous.
very tenuous. I mean, this is the thing. Hayward, in the end of the show, I was a bit disappointed that he became quite a 2D villain. I'm not disappointed that he wasn't Ultron, but like, he just shows up and tries to shoot and run over the kids. It's like, what's your goal here? You need to stop. You need to pull back for a second. You're going off the rails. I also had like another Ultron related thing, which was just that White Vision was going to turn out to be Ultron. It was kind of just an offshoot. It wasn't mine, but like
Yeah.
another thing I read. It's kind of an
I
offshoot.
saw that
of
a few,
Hayward
like,
as
he was
Ultron.
going to have James Spader's voice. I heard that
Yeah.
a few times, yeah.
Um,
And he was going to do the
And I-
classic villain line when they come back, and he's like, did you miss me? You know, that classic villain thing that they all say when they've been gone for a while. You know.
I think, in retrospect, having got it out my system, as much as I'd like to see James Spader get to reprise that role, I think I'm quite happy never seeing Ultron again. You know?
I mean, yeah, if he came back, yeah, good, have him back, but at the same time, just leave it alone. Yeah,
They played him, you know what I mean? Like, I feel bad for James Spader. Like, he was so good, and they played him. They gave him a shit movie. I kind of want him to come back just so he gets another go at it. Like, I don't even care what the story is. Just give him something good. Just finally, just let him.
I mean, this
so
is
annoying.
This is a thing that Marvel are, I think, slowly learning, is that it's their villain game. It's not that their villains are weak necessarily. They cast good actors, but what they do is they bin them off too quickly. You know, it's good to defeat the villain, but they kill off too many. So, like Ultron, it's a shame that, yes, I suppose there's a chance because he's a robot and whatever, he can come back, but it seems like he's not gonna. You know, and I think they're slowly learning that, like, not killing Agatha in the end of Wandavision and just sort of imprisoning her is a way to use that character again if they feel. This is exactly why I think that there's some ambiguity with the Ralph Boner stuff. Is like, I think internally they were probably like, there is a chance that people will just not like this if we just cast another guy as Quicksilver, but they might. So what if we just sort of casually play both sides, see what the reaction is, and if we want him as our Quicksilver, we can.
Yeah.
We don't have to commit to it if it's bad, you know. There's a duality to the risk taking. There's like, let's do creative things that we've not seen in this franchise before, but there's also, let's not try and annoy everyone while simultaneously put yourself in positions to annoy anyone. They are more or less all the theories I found. The only other thing was just like it was very vague. Everyone in Westview is a villain. That's something that I read. Like, all the neighbors are bad guys. Does anyone else have anything slightly different?
I've got a list of who people thought the main villain was going to be.
Oh, go on.
So again, Ultron, as we said, Strucker, dead. Mephisto, Nightmare, Mordred, all ones we kind of mentioned. There was one that was not Agatha. It definitely won't be Agatha. This Agnes thing is just a fake out. It won't be that. And here I got the quote here, which I just thought was fantastic. Agatha Harkness being the villain would be very disrespectful to the source material. Honestly, it would hurt to see Wanda's helpful mentor being portrayed as an evil hag or something. Whoever wrote that,
The thing is, a lot of these people that read this stuff, that write this stuff, haven't read all the comics, and neither have I. Hands in the air, I've not read all the comics. I'm never going to. There's too many. I have plenty of other things to do in the world, and it's fine if you haven't. However, while it is true that Agatha is Scarlet Witch's mentor, she also feeds her kids to Mephisto. Like, she also kind of is a villain.
Yeah.
In the comics. So, whatever. The other thing that I had written down, which actually turned out to be true, like it just was a good call, was that Agatha's book was The Darkhold, and that book is likely the one missing from Doctor Strange's library during his kind of learning montage. And since they're he's going to show up again in his movie, and that just slightly is true. That was good. One good theory.
I'm just quite glad that it wasn't Mephisto or an evil interdimensional big bad, because we've kind of said this TV show wasn't about that. It wasn't about fighting this evil villain from a hell
People think
dimension.
it's coming though.
I mean, by all means, still do it, but you'd do that in a movie. I feel
make that the story of the movie, not something you tack on. Yeah,
because like this TV show is behind a paywall. It is like Disney Plus. You have to pay to watch it, which you can say the same for movies, but it makes it not as accessible for everyone. Like my dad, the only reason he'd never watched Mandalorian was because he could only play it on his laptop and couldn't be bothered to plug it into his TV each week to watch it. So he would just not have watched any of it.
Yeah.
So I can understand why a lot of people won't have watched it. So these shows, they know, the people making them will know that they can't put there's bigger things in them, like Mephisto. Like, you have to keep it relatively small scale, which they did, and it worked quite well.
The way they kind of played it was that, like, they had seven episodes of intrigue, one episode of revelation, and then the last episode was a big third act superhero movie. It was a big fight for the whole episode, and it worked. And I think if you were to add 2 or 3 more supervillains into that fight, it would have just been clustered. No one would have been developed. It would have been a bit of a mess. I thought they worked well with what they had.
Definitely. It was
I think if you're watching, when you watch it, say you're someone who just watches the films, you don't maybe you don't have Disney Plus, so you don't think casual viewers, they only watch the films. They watch Endgame, and then I don't know, they watch Doctor Strange, and for that person, really not a lot has changed for Wanda. At the end of as far as they're concerned, she's sad because she lost Vision, and then in Doctor Strange, a theory that I've seen is that she's gonna. Well, it's a theory. I would like it if the actor did this, 'cause I think it'd be a cool twist, that she'll be the villain of Doctor Strange. I think that's a cool. That would be a cool way to do it, because then she's not just some villain or whatever. We know who she is. She's Wanda. She used to be a good guy. Now she's a villain, and we understand why she's a villain. But to that person who's not watched WandaVision, they just watch the films, you can still kind of understand it without watching the show. They have a line in the film where they're like, she, the grief of losing Vision was a bit much, and then she, so she started to explore her powers or whatever. That, it could still give us information about what happened after the show when she's in that cabin. So, it's not... the thing with these shows is they can't have too much stuff that completely changes everything, you know what I mean? So, but, WandaVision's fine at the minute because it's not done that. It's more of a side story to it, and it's not got anyone kind of include, it's introduced Monica, I suppose, if they're going to keep, use her. But
I'm sure she'll
I
get a
think-
reintroduction in Captain Marvel 2. Then.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, like-
the way they play this stuff, because we talked about this before, Joe, about how we worry that including too much stuff is going to be off-putting. But when you really think about it, if you really care about Scarlet Witch's character, you're going to watch this anyway. And the stuff that they do, there's a lot of fun stuff to explore. But to the casual viewer, in the interim, if they don't watch this show, she has, like, the audience who has understand her powers more, but like it's not going to be that she always has been quite strong. She's still going to be using the red stuff, and she's got a new cool costume. You know, what superhero project does go by without the costume getting updated?
Yeah,
Whatever.
and
It's
you
just
can,
an
you
accepted
can
part.
legally call her Scarlet Witch now as well, so that's nice for them.
Yeah.
Like it would just be thingy. Yeah, I think it just like you're not gonna have to watch. It's like I said before. Like I thought the reason she was in Doctor Strange is because they were like, oh, no one's gonna watch WandaVision, so they're putting her in, so you have to watch WandaVision. You don't have to watch WandaVision to watch Doctor Strange. Like obviously we don't know what Doctor Strange is, but I already know based on the end of WandaVision, you don't need to watch WandaVision to watch whatever's gonna happen in Doctor Strange. It'll just be a case of this is happening to her. She's doing whatever. Book, she floats the same way I do as Doctor Strange did. You know, that's I was playing Benedict Cumberbatch then. You know,
Flawless.
It was uncanny.
he just walks in and he's like, oh no, he has that weird American accent, doesn't he? He just walks in, he's like, why are you floating to, you know, I don't know, fuck knows, but, you know.
He gave up on that really quickly.
But, you know, like, my point is, you don't have to watch WandaVision to watch Doctor Strange, but, saying that, this, and I kind of get the same feeling with the Loki TV show as well. I feel like it's going to be like a side thing, like, because it's already not the Loki that we know anyway. It's the 2012 one. So, you know, that's its own thing anyway. But the thing with Falcon and Winter Soldier, I'm not 100% sure that they're going to do stuff in that's... Unless it is literally just like, oh, this is just something we're doing in between what's happening in the films. That could be the way they approach it. But
I'll say this about Falcon and Winter Soldier, because when they showed off the trailer, which was like clips of all the Marvel TV shows, that was the one I was least excited for. But after watching WandaVision, I'm more excited for it, because I understand that they can pull off some shit that I'm probably not going to be expecting, you know?
yeah.
Just as it stands, it seems like a pretty basic action spy thing. And if it turns out to be that, that'll be a little bit disappointing, but I'm sure it'll appeal to the people who, you know, still think Winter Soldier is the best MCU movie. Whatever.
Yeah,
But they might be pulling off some cool shit in it, and because they've done it with WandaVision, you know, I probably was going to put off Winter... I know they said Winter Falcon. I don't know what the second name would have been, Winter Soldier and the Falcon. But now, I'm going to, in 2 weeks, I'm going to watch it on Friday. I am, you know?
Yeah.
Just in case it fucking rocks.
Yeah.
Like-
it's nice that it's only 2 weeks as well.
Yeah.
Very, yeah. They're doing a good job on that front.
Yeah.
I mean,
what are they
I
going to
wasn't
do?
like
when The Mandalorian comes back on at the end of the year, and they've still got Marvel properties to throw out. We're going to get two things on a Friday.
oh man, yes.
Could be intense.
Yes.
Don't think I can do that. It's going to kill me.
God.
I could do that. My Friday night sorted, you know what I mean?
Right. So is there any last things anyone wants to say about WandaVision, or do we think we've covered
I think
a lot?
we've covered everything. You guys had some
Yeah,
good
it's
stuff
good.
to say.
Yeah, it was good. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's-
Fair enough.
That's the lot.
Right, let's wrap it up there. Thank you very much for listening / maybe watching this episode of the Outtakes podcast. If you have watched us but you want to take us on the go, search for the Outtakes podcast on your favorite podcasting apps. Will come up. We also had another show called The Movie Podcast. If you want to watch that in the meantime, go check out those older episodes. And if you have been watching to us on the go, you can look at our beautiful faces on the YouTube by searching the Outtakes podcast as well. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Real Outtakes, and we will see you all next time.